We are going to talk tonight about a subject that's based on a saying that my father used to have. Whenever he was trying to make a point about how certain something was, he would say, "Doubtless, without a doubt, no doubt." Okay? Now that is really without any doubt. Okay? And that's the point I want to bring up tonight, is about the role of doubt in our lives and the effect that it has on us, and how to get rid of it. Because the opposite of doubt, of course, is confidence. And so what we're really talking about is confidence. And the most complete kind of confidence is when you are in a state of doubtless, without a doubt, no doubt. To understand this a little bit better, we need to know where doubt comes from. How does such a thing start? And where it starts from, there's two places. We've got two primary things which are primary about ourselves. There are two places that doubt starts, because there's two kinds. One is doubt about your competence, which is really a doubt of power, your own power, to do something, to be effective, to act effectively. And the other one is a doubt about your worth. And they're related, but there's a little bit of a distinction there. Because especially there's a little bit of distinction because the doubt about your power is based on the doubt about your worth, which is often called, deals with the issue called self-esteem. And the other one is the issue called self-confidence, confidence in your own ability. That's what self-confidence is. And self-esteem is esteem for your own self. And it's very difficult if you don't have a certain degree of self-esteem, then it's very difficult to have any self-confidence which goes beyond that. The two are very interlinked there. It's possible to have, again, in the same way, it's not very possible to have, you have a great deal of self-confidence without self-esteem going along with it. They're not identical, but they're very interrelated. We call this interrelationship in Huna, the one we call aloha, which is love, and mana, which is power. And the two have got to go together and work together to be really effective. One without the other is out of balance. It's like, if you like, sometimes you can think of it, and the Hawaiians had this concept too, the concept between male and female, as we use it as archetypes in the West, okay? Male energy or female or feminine energy. And they both got to be in balance to be effective. If you've got too much of one, you get way out and you get abuse of some kind. If you have love without power, for instance, then what you've got, it's a wishy-washy kind of love. It's a very passive to the point of, gee, I love people so much that I wouldn't do anything to resist them whatsoever, and you let people in the world and everything walk over you. Okay? And that's not really love, because while you may call it love for the rest of the world, it is a very degrading kind of attitude toward oneself. And it engenders a doubt that you are worthy of standing up. Power without love leads to the masculine abuse of that power, okay? Of using force, of using violence to get one's way without any sense of compassion whatsoever. So power without love is also not effective in producing either happiness or effectiveness. Okay? Because if you use violence to accomplish ends, you get violence back. You plant that seed, that's the kind of thing you're going to get in return. Okay? It's possible to use violence to suppress stuff for a while, but it just suppresses it. And if that's what you keep using, boom, out it comes again. This might seem like it's kind of off the target, but it's not off the subject. I was thinking today about World War II and what really brought about the peace. It was not the winning of the war militarily. That's not what did it. That was simply the temporary stoppage of hostility. That's all that was. What won the thing, what made, helped to bring peace about afterwards, was the Marshall Plan that just helped Europe and Russia to bring themselves back up, and the very unique, and I have to say loving, in a larger sense, loving attitude of the United States, okay? Unbeknownst to a lot of people involved, but nevertheless, the very loving attitude of making friends with their enemies. So that two very deep enemies that were once had are now very close allies. There was a process of integration, of reaching out, of forgiving, and integration. Now that's what brought about the peace. It wasn't all the violence that went before it and the suppression stuff. That's not what does it. There had to be, however, at that point, enough self-esteem to be able to act that way on the part of somebody. The United States at that time had a strong belief in its righteousness, and that helped to give enough self-esteem and self-confidence to be able to take such, what would normally be considered in any other time period, a tremendous risk. The more self-esteem you have, the more self-confidence you have, the less doubt you have about yourself and your purposes and your being, the more you are willing to take the risk. Whether that risk is making friends with enemies on a worldwide scale, or stepping up and saying hello to a person that you think is kind of nice and you'd like to get to know. Okay? In either case, there is a tremendous, whether it's on a personal individual level or whether it's on a national world level, there's a possibility of rejection. There's a possibility of making a mistake, of saying the wrong thing and not quite doing it perfect. For the person who has the self-esteem, has no doubt about himself or herself, that's easy to do. That didn't work. Okay, try something else. Or try someone else. Okay? There's no sense of loss. There's no sense of risk. One doesn't feel that their whole self is at stake in doing that. But you do that, and that works when you have no doubt. Where do you get a state of no doubt? Okay. Let's look at the self-confidence part of this first. Confidence is always in something. There's no such thing as an abstract thing called confidence. Even though you can talk about it intellectually, practical terms here on the earth, there's no such thing as some abstract thing called confidence. It is always confidence in something, in somebody, in yourself, in your skill. When you say in yourself, what does that mean? Confidence in your skill, confidence in your ability to handle things, confidence in your power, your effectiveness, always confidence in something, even when it's applied to yourself. If you have a larger sense of self, like we teach in Huna, about the concept of your higher self as also being a part of you, your body self, or ku, is also being a part of you. Then when you say, I have confidence in my ability to handle any situation, from a Huna point of view, what you're saying is, I have confidence in either my conscious mind, or my body's natural knowledge, or my higher self's spiritual awareness and ability to handle any situation. There's kind of an integrated sense of self. So when you say I have confidence, self-confidence, it's a larger sense of self than most people are thinking about when they say that. Most people are thinking about their consciously aware skills or knowledge or something like that. Well, if that's all you rely on, good grief, It's understandable why a lot of people don't have more self-confidence. They're trying to rely on what they can remember from what they learned in school, or what they remember of the skills that they learned, or what they know how to do right now. New situation arises, what are you going to do? And you feel shaky, you feel insecure. Doubt. Can I do this? Is it possible? What if I fail? All those things are the doubt kind of statements that people make to themselves that increase the doubt, increase the insecurity, and lessen the effectiveness and the happiness, of course. Anxiety that arises, whether it's free-floating anxiety, people think there's such a thing, free-floating anxiety, which is supposedly anxiety that you feel and you don't know what the cause is. That just means your body's feeling anxious about something that you're not consciously aware of. It knows specifically what it is. But one thing it is specifically is, it always arises from doubt. It always arises from Doubt about your ability to cope with something. Okay? So the body, whatever the situation arises, is around it, or whatever subtle thing it can pick up, which could be from across the nation or the other side of the world, doubt arises. Can I cope with that? If, and here's the first one, if you decide, whenever you feel anxious about anything, and you stop and say, wait a second, one of us, meaning my high self, my body, or me, consciously, one of us can handle this body, whatever it is. One of us can handle it. You'd be amazed at how much anxiety starts to disappear. You may even have a kind of a spontaneous sigh that will appear, and that's a sign that, oh, your body has been under tension and is suddenly relaxed. And all you have to assure it is, look, one of us can handle this. That kind of, if you can get in that conscious, knowing expectancy state, say, I don't know what it is you're anxious about, one of us can handle it. Wow, you'd be amazed how much nicer that makes you feel. How relieved you start to feel. And that feeling of relief is on your way toward more self-confidence. One of the things that you begin with in this process, because of the doubt that it gives rise to feelings of anxiety, that gives rise to feelings of tension in the pit of the stomach, okay? It gives rise to nervousness when your hands are shaking, and not just because you've had too much caffeine. It gives rise to whatever might be happening with you. So much of it is based upon doubt. Because so much of these symptoms, so many of these symptoms are based on insecurity. And that includes an awful lot of headaches and stuff too. A lot of tension things that are in the body where the body's trying to hold on to something to get a greater feeling of security. And the only way it knows how to do that, if you don't teach it different, is to tense up the muscles. Okay? That doesn't work very well. Okay? Start to make you feel more insecure because you get out of touch with the body, with the feelings, with the energy, out of touch with the earth, out of touch with people around you. You lose contact, you feel greater separation, alienation, more anxiety. Okay? But you try to use something or other to suppress, and it just gets more, and it just builds up on itself. Starting from doubt. Now, in this society of ours, we are trained in ways of doubt. Trained in it. Usually not on purpose, because the people training us usually aren't aware that that's what they're doing. But children are really good at learning doubt and how to cause it. One of the ways, they learn at their mother's or father's knee, mostly usually the mother's knee, is, and not blaming the mothers here, just the way the culture is, manipulation. Emotional manipulation. Okay? Train people to feel guilty if they don't please somebody. If they don't please, it can be them, this amorphous them that might be out there. Okay? They won't like that. If you do that, people will talk, or people will say this, or even the subtler ones, the worst ones for kids are, you'll never make it if you do it that, if you act that way. You'll never be accepted if you, by who? Okay? The only thing the kid knows is the parent. But then by extension, that becomes all of society. Okay? If you don't do what I do, basically, if you don't do what I do, if you don't make me happy, then something's wrong with you. Then you're no good, you're not competent, you won't make it. All of those kinds of things are taught. And even more subtle ways where you feel pressured into acting for somebody's wishes to do what they want you to do. Okay? And very subtly, they can seem to be real nice on the surface, but if you ever feel the tension inside, you get the feeling of manipulation. And you tense up, and you don't want to do it, and you tense up, and so you might get physical symptoms, you might get bronchitis, you might get other kinds of symptoms that people get because as anger builds up, and you don't want to act that way, but you feel that you have to or else, because you doubt yourself, and you doubt your ability to do anything about what the other person wants you to do that you don't want to do. And so this emotional manipulation is taught, and people then have become manipulated in that way. Again, this is not a big conspiracy. This is just a kind of a social, cultural thing. I don't want to scare you all. Most people are doing it unconsciously. But you become manipulated by guilt and manipulated by expectancy and all this kind of thing, and you build up resentment, and all of that is based on a sense of doubt, self-doubt. If you were totally confident in yourself, you would never resent anybody, and you would never feel guilt, ever. Because you would have total self-esteem, we're talking about an ideal here, but it's possible to get closer and closer to that. Total self-esteem, total self-confidence, because you are so sure of yourself, so sure that you're okay, that you're in the right place in the world at the right time, doing exactly the right thing, and that you've got the ability, the power, the knowledge, the skill, the contact with higher self or spirit, whatever, to take care of any situation that you ever find yourself in. Wow, you can imagine how good that's going to make you feel. It's possible to get there. How? The easiest route is by the decisions that you make about yourself and about the world around you. It kind of goes like this. You've got self-confidence, which is based on your sense of power, which is very strongly based on your sense of self-esteem, or your true loving of yourself, appreciation of yourself, which is based upon your feeling of worth, which is based upon a decision about yourself. And finally comes down to that. And of course decisions about other things help too, but basically it's a decision about yourself. Somewhere along the way you made a decision, if you ever suffer from this, somewhere along the way you made a decision, something's wrong with me. I don't fit, I'm not right, I can't please when I'm expected to please, whatever it is, you make a decision that something's wrong with me. The way out is right now to start making a decision, hey, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm fine, I'm okay. Now see, if you got a lot of steam, you also find that you don't have to make the usual polarity, there's nothing wrong with me, they're crazy. Okay? You don't have to do that. You can let them be whatever they are. There's nothing wrong with me, I'm okay. And say that with enough repetition and energy till you begin, and feeling till you begin to believe it. That starts to change your life. And it starts automatically to change how other people are responding to you. Now, when you start on that basis, you make that basic decision. I don't care what, when, how long you've had another kind of decision, when it was, who you learned it from, anything like that. You can start changing it today, tonight. And that's that basic. Nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm all right. And then you start making a few other decisions that are also very helpful, and they're true to the degree that you believe them. And among these are, I suggest these, the first one is really basic and most important, but among these others that work very well are, and I can't do any wrong. Nothing I do is wrong. I might not like all the results I get, but nothing I do is wrong. Nothing. Ever. Ooh, that starts to send chills through your body when you start thinking about that one, doesn't it? Wow. You've started to release your power when you're doing that. You start to release a lot of locked up energy when you start making that kind of a decision, and all your beliefs about yourselves are essentially decisions about yourselves. That's how a belief starts. By making a decision. And so when you make a decision like that, first of all, I'm okay, I'm fine, and I can do no wrong. Wow, that's daring. But boy, does that start to lead into a sense of power. Not over, but power to. Power to act competently in any situation, knowing that whatever the results are, that was the best possible result in that situation. And so this links into something else, too, that I'll bring in with this one, and that is what the idea of when you're going after goals. It seems to fit right now, so I'm going to bring this in because it leads to a greater sense of power here and reduction of doubt. When you have a goal in mind, whether that goal is being happy for this hour, or whether that goal is achieving some worldwide project, or anything in between. It really doesn't matter what the goal is. Don't tie your self-esteem, your self-worth, or your competence to the plans. So many people do that. They have a goal that they start working on, and they start a plan, they start working toward that goal by following some kind of certain path, accomplishing certain things, and then the plan doesn't work, and they say, I failed. That's a statement of self-doubt. Okay? I say, I failed, I didn't make it, I'm awful, I'm terrible, or the world's all against me, or whatever it might be. You know, folks, all it means is the plan didn't work. So what? So you choose another plan. If you don't link it to the plan, if you don't link yourself, your self-worth and stuff, if you don't link that to the plan, you are free from so much self-doubt. Because then you can say, well, that plan didn't work. Let's try something else. Then you are also free in this sense, because you can say, well, now, how much do I really want that goal? Do I want it enough to try another plan? Yes, okay, good. Then we'll try another plan. And if 32 plans don't work, that just means that those 32 plans didn't work. See, it doesn't mean anything else. It doesn't mean anything about your competence, about your self-worth, about anything else like that. It simply means that those 32 plans weren't the ones. And then you decide, well, now, how much do I really want this goal? Do I want it enough to keep trying another plan? You might decide then, I don't think I want it that much. So I'm going to choose a different goal. And so you choose another goal, you let that one go. And there's no failure. No failure, and therefore no room and no cause for any self-doubt. Because you consciously decided, that's not the goal for me, and consciously decided to pick another one. That way, all you'll have in your life are successes. It works in here so very well. The idea that Edison brought up when people, he had 10,000 plans that he used to get the light bulb. And that great story about, I think it was at a party or cocktail party or something, some woman, didn't you ever get discouraged? He says, no, I learned 10,000 ways that didn't work. He didn't let those discourage because he didn't tie his competence or his worth to the method, to the plan. So that left him free to try as many plans as he wanted to till he found one that would work for that goal. Obviously, he really wanted that goal. Okay? But see, because he wasn't linking himself, he never got discouraged. And discouragement is self-doubt. There's a powerful lesson in that, if you can get that. You can free yourself from so much of this. That first decision, wait a second, I'm okay. And the second powerful one is, if I want that, there's a way to get it. Then the other decisions you have to make are, do I want to do what it takes to get it? Right? I was telling somebody recently, they were thinking about in terms of meeting a particular person, and I said, you might find out finally, after all these ways you try to get that person to pay attention to you, that what's really going to work is getting in a clown suit in the middle of the day down the street, stepping up, giving her a giant lollipop, and telling her a joke, and that'll attract her attention. Now, you may not want to do that. How much do you want to get that person's attention? That's when you got to decide. Now, if you don't do that, that's not a failure. That's just a decision. No, that doesn't match with my self-esteem or what I want to do. Okay? Even though that's the only thing that might work, that's not the price I want to pay. And you're free. There's no self-doubt in there. So, I'm okay, and there's a way. Oh, I like that. Fits together kind of nice. Right? And those are the kinds of things that can work for you. Let's take this into a personal inner experience right now. Take a deep breath. Let your eyes close. And think first of all of the idea of any doubt about yourself in your life, any self-doubt. Just say, out, doubt. And take yourself in spirit, in mind, all the way back to the beginnings of your life, when you first popped into the world. Now that you're conscious, you can do this and get in touch with that part of yourself and say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm fine. Doesn't matter what anybody says or does, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm fine. And whatever I want in this life, there's a way to get it. And I can choose if I want to do that, how much I want the thing, but there's a plan, there's a way that will work. If I want it enough, all I have to do is find it. So I'm okay, and there's a way. And as you sit there, allow your mind to, in memory, situations that rose up at various periods in your life where there may have been any doubt whatsoever about yourself, about your worth, about your competency. And as each one of those comes through your mind right now, say, hey, I was okay then too. And even then, there was a way. And if I didn't do that, because I chose not to. I've never been a failure, ever. And I've never done anything wrong. I decide that right now because I pardon myself completely for everything whatsoever. I'm free. Bring yourself back to the present. Mentally give yourself a hug, a kiss, and a pat on the back. And say, as of right now, I make the decision. I'm okay. And whatever I want, there is a way. And I've got God within me, the great vast knowledge of my body, and my own skills and abilities. We can do anything if we want to hard enough. I'm okay, and there is a way. Aloha. Come on back out when you're ready. Give me a nice hand and we'll end the tape.